Let's talk about it. Let's have this conversation about why saving money in a bank account is not just a bad idea, but it's a terrible, terrible idea. So I don't know if you guys are new to the channel or not. I don't know if you watch a lot of my videos. But if you do, you know that I absolutely hate the idea of making money, making extra money, because that's what it is. The money that you make and need, you use that for bills and living, but the extra money you store into a bank account. Now, I know that there are a lot of people on YouTube and on the internet and on social media telling you that you should have 3 to 6 months of savings, that you should have a year of savings. I don't tell you that, and there's a reason I don't. Number one is, and this is not even on my list of why savings is bad, but number one, the reason I don't tell you to save, to have 3 to 6 months and all that, is because I realize, based on statistics, and you can do the research yourself, that the average American does not have $5,000 in the bank. Like 80% of America doesn't even have $5,000. So if I don't make enough to save $5,000 in all the time I've been working, how am I going to save 3 to 6 months? Let's say my bills are $3,000 a month. I'm struggling just to save $5,000. How am I going to save $18,000 minimum? How am I going to do that just like that? Right? So the likelihood of that happening, very slim to none, right? And so you guys know, if you watch my video, by the way, hit subscribe, hit thumbs up, welcome to the channel. The things that I tell you about money and finance, or what to do with savings, is to benefit you, to get you out of the mindset of just stacking money in a dying bank account. Yes, a dying bank account. So let's talk about it really quickly in this short video. By the way, for everyone who enrolled in the class, if you have not set up your one-on-one meetings with me so we can get your business launched and get you making money, then you need to email me, reach out to me really quickly, let me know, so that my assistant Cynthia can start scheduling these meetups, these coaching sessions, where you go one-on-one with the great one, Shon-Jhon, the Middleman CEO. And if you guys are out there and you're watching for the first time, you don't know what I'm talking about, I teach people how to make money from their phones by starting a middleman business, where you choose any service industry you want to get into: home cleaning, babysitting, pressure washing, pest control, moving, garage repair, heating and AC repair, roofing, does not matter, any service industry. I teach you how to partner with companies who actually do that work. For instance, partner with home cleaners, and you don't actually do the cleaning, they do, but you find a customer and you get paid on average about $100 every time you find a customer. So if you're in a different industry, you can make more. I'm in the moving industry, so I make about $150 every time I book a customer. You don't have to be in that industry. You can choose whichever industry you want, launch your business and go. So I teach people the importance of learning to use their phones to make money. I call it the middleman, because you're the man in the middle. You're not the person doing the work. You pass the work to someone else. You simply just find a customer, match them to a business, get paid to do it. Just like Uber finds a rider, finds a driver, match them, connects them, and gets paid every time that connection is made. It's that simple. So if you want to learn how to do that, put the word middleman in the comments below, and someone's going to email you, and then we'll get you started. All right, but that's only for people who want to use their phones to make money, don't want to be tied to a job for the rest of their lives. So again, saving money in a bank account is a terrible, terrible idea. And I'll just give you 3 quick reasons it's a really bad idea. Number one, and in no particular order, but I'll just list them, but none more important than the other. But number one reason, this is just my opinion. You guys don't have to agree with Shon-Jhon. I'm just telling you how I feel. I'm just telling you how I think. I'm just telling you that I believe that if you stack money in a bank account and leave it there, it's as good as throwing it in the ocean. It's as good as burying it in a graveyard. It's the same thing. Because why do I say that? Because I realize that money is a tool. Yes, it's a tool. And it's only useful when it's used, right? So if you never use it, it's useless. So you can have, I've had people tell me, and I had a conversation with a guy one time in my garage, and he was like, no, I don't agree with that. And he was like, because I've saved $100,000 and that helped me. And I said, all right, so let's say you got $100,000 in your bank account. I said, what does that do for you? What is that $100,000 doing for you? And he thought about it for a second, and he came back and he was like, you know what? Nothing. I was like, exactly. See, if you don't use the money, it's not useful. It just sits in a bank. It doesn't even sit there, right? It's just listed as sitting there. It's just digits on an app, but it's not really in your account. The bank has already taken that money, multiplied that money by 10, fractional reserve, whatever the number is today, and already sold your money, a loan, to someone else who wants to take a chance and create some financial freedom, which is what you could be doing, which is what you should be doing. But instead, you're the one giving the bank free money. Here's number one. Why do I say the money's free? Because you don't charge the bank anything. Well, what do you mean? Why don't you charge the bank anything? How is it that you give the bank free money? Good question. Banks used to pay this thing called interest. Interest is something the bank would give to you to come and deposit your paper check. Now the banks have direct deposit. They no longer need to bribe you. And they realize that you guys don't ask if you're making interest or not. You're just comfortable, completely cool, just leaving your money there. So the banks got smart and was like, wait a minute, why are we paying 10, 15% interest when these customers are not even asking if they're making any interest payments? Why are we paying interest when we don't have to bribe Mary to bring her paycheck? Because you used to get paper checks. We don't have to bribe her. There's direct deposit. They just stick it in our account every week. So the banks got smart and said, all right, we could save all this money by just paying 0% interest. If you think I'm not telling the truth, then pull up your bank account or go to your bank or call your banker and ask. Number one, is all of my money in my bank account now? No. Number two, how much interest are you paying me? And you'll find out pretty much zero. If it starts with 0 point, you're making nothing. So pretty much a 0% interest. Even a high yield interest right now would be 3 to 5%, which is nuts. That's like, if I'm not mistaken, that's like leaving $100,000 in the bank for a year to make $3,000. You can make $3,000 begging on a corner. I don't recommend it, but you can do it. So, by the way, I remember there was a time when I was living in Baton Rouge in Louisiana, and I met this guy who was really cool. He was homeless. I think I bought him some food or something like that, because one thing I don't do, I don't give people money. I don't pull out my wallet. I don't do any of that. I don't recommend women roll their windows down or give anybody anything, especially a man. It's just too dangerous I always tell my wife, don't roll your window down to give anybody any money. Don't pull out your pocketbook or your purse. Don't do that. If it's a woman and you're comfortable and feel like it's a safe environment, sure. Don't ever do it for a man. A lot of these guys are out of their minds. They're overpower the women. Don't do it. And my rule is, if you ask me for money, I'm not going to give it to you, because I probably don't have money on me anyway. I rarely have cash. But if you're sitting outside a store or something and you're asking for some change or whatever, look, I don't have change. I'm not going to go in and get you any money or out the ATM or nothing like that. But here's what I will do. If you're hungry and you need a drink, I'll go in there and buy you something, a sandwich, some chips, a drink. I can do that for you, not a problem. If you refuse that, and they have, then you're not hungry. You don't want anything. You just want money. So, and I'm not going to support that, because you're probably going to buy something like alcohol or drugs. How did I get onto that? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Just too dangerous to do that. So, all right. So back to the topic. I have a tendency of bouncing off the walls. That rabbit, boy, he gets loose, I chase him down every hole. So here we go. So number one, again, Banks no longer pay interest. Look like it's about to rain here today, so we'll see. Banks pay 0% interest. So that means they're not going to pay you anything to leave your money in a bank account. That's why it's a bad idea, right? Number 2, inflation. Inflation destroys, I'm talking about things that kill your money while it sits in the graveyard. It's already dead because you buried it in a bank. I'm just talking about things that help it die faster, right? So, number 1 would be 0% interest, so the banks don't pay you anything to leave it there. Imagine you're a store and you want to sell products, but you don't have any products to sell, you don't have any money to make the products. But people start bringing you free stuff, don't charge you anything, give it to you for you to sell. You'd have 100% markup, 100% net margins, because it's like Goodwill. You give Goodwill free product, you donate it, they pick it up, put it in their store, sell it for a profit. But you do the same thing at the banks. You probably don't think of it that way, but you take out, and that's why I love the banking model, right? And banks are not bad places. Don't get me wrong. A bank is not a bad thing, and I love their business model where they get free product. What do banks sell? They sell money, right? And so interest rates is how much the money's going to sell for. But where does the banks get the money? Oh, they get the money from the working class. Well, how much does it cost for them to acquire the money? Well, they used to pay interest. It used to cost something, but now they pay no interest. It costs nothing. So people bring the money there for free, give it to the banks, and the banks use it to make a ton of money, and it doesn't cost the banks anything. To me, that's a great business model. If you could get free product to sell, can't beat that. And so, no interest. So that kills your money. Secondly, inflation. Inflation destroys your money. Well, what is inflation? Inflation is the cost of things around you going up. So basically, in a nutshell, when things cost more, that's inflation. More money, too much money in the economy is what we see today. Too much money. Remember, they printed all that stimulus and all that. I'm not against it. It was your money to begin with, but it does drive the cost of everything up. More money chasing the same goods drive the cost of everything up around you. Hello, inflation. So inflation, and I bet you guys just a few years ago never heard of the word inflation. Now you know inflation, you know hyperinflation. You got it down. They don't talk about deflation because it ain't happening, right? So inflation, the cost of everything around you is going up. So houses doubling in prices. The eggs in the grocery, oh gosh, eggs and bacon. My God, it's cheaper to get the pig and to get the hog. In my neighborhood here in Dallas, we have wild hogs that's off in the trees and whatnot, and I've seen them a few times. It's cheaper for me to get up in the middle of the night and go snipe about 3 of these hogs and drag them home and butcher them than it is for me to buy bacon out of the store, out of Tom Thumb, you know? Goodness gracious. Bacon's $10. Eggs, $5 for a carton. It's like $3 just for 6 eggs. Like, it's cheaper to get the chicken. I could just go out here and just grab chickens and just bring them to the house. It's cheaper. It's cheaper to raise a chicken and to slaughter hogs than it is to buy bacon and eggs. But what is that? Because just a few years ago, eggs were $2 a dozen. Now they're $5 and $6 a dozen. Bacon was $3.99. Now bacon's $10. Well, what is that? That's inflation in your face. Now you understand what inflation is, right? If they would have taught us this in school instead of the history of art, then we'd be better off out here. You gotta think to yourself, it's gotta be intentional that they don't teach anything about money in school. You know why? Because I think to myself and be like, man, I've been through school, high school, elementary and all that, did like a week of college. I've been through school and they never taught me anything about money. And as far as I know, they don't teach you anything about money and finance in college. They may call it that, but they don't teach you the things you really need to know, right? And all of a sudden, you know, I look back and I go, wait a minute, they didn't teach me anything about money and finance. That had to be intentional. Did they intentionally want me to be bad at finance? I'll leave that up to you. Or the banks and the general education board in bed together, I'll leave that up to you. I'll leave that up to you. So that's the second. That the first being zero interest rate, the second being inflation. The third, and this is probably one of the most important, and you guys probably never thought of this, but I'm going to bring it to your mind because just a few years ago, I never thought of these things either. I was just like you. But somebody told me, and it changed my life. Now, I'm telling you, and I expect this to change your life. So what happened is I was in bad financial positions. I was spending more money than I was making. I was living below my means, but boy, my means were low, you know what I mean? So it was a struggle fest. My daughter and I, we were sharing Hot Pockets and ravioli and spaghetti cans. Listen, when people talk about being poor and broke, you're talking to the right one. You're preaching to the choir. I can tell you how to survive. If there was a game show called Survive Poor and Broke for 90 days, I'd win it. Hands down, I know how to do this. I know how to survive poor and broke with nothing. I can win this thing easily. This ain't even a contest. This is not even fair to them. I've been homeless 3 times starting in high school. Come on, this is gonna be easy. I used to come home, my brothers and my sisters and I, and if we had lights in the house, we didn't have something else, right? If we had running water, we didn't have lights. If we had lights, we didn't have running water. I know what I'm talking about. What you see today ain't what it always have been. And I don't ever want to go back to that. My kids are spoiled. They're spoiled. They're living, and there's nothing wrong with spoiling kids, don't get me wrong. You don't want to give them everything and they don't appreciate the impact of putting in effort, or because if you give them everything, you can put them in a bad situation where they take everything for granted. They don't appreciate effort. They don't appreciate planning. They don't appreciate those things, right? Earning things. So we don't do that, but they live in a nice house, nice neighborhood, great friends, no violence, no shooting, no police sirens all night, gated community, lakes, sailboats. You can see it all behind me. I'm in my neighborhood now. Beautiful $1 million houses. So they're not exposed to things that I was exposed to. My son, he's 4, and I was talking to his teacher yesterday. She came out, and I had to stop her and say, hey, you got to stop. Listen, if my son's having a problem in class, I need you to email me or text me. I don't need you to walk out to me in front of the other parents and the other young kids and embarrass my son. Now, he's crying. He's having a bad day. Shame on these schools that kids have bad days. My son's 4 years old, pre-K. He's never had a bad day until he started going to school, and they give good bears, bad bears, good days, bad days, good stickers, bad stickers. What are we doing to our kids? Well, he's just not paying attention to a lot of things. You know what my son likes? He likes wrestling. If you teach him wrestling, he'll pay attention. He gets bored. He's like his dad. So anyway, I don't want to get off on that. I just hate the way schools turn your kids into the awesome kids that we know and love and raise into these drones and robots. That's a video for another day, where you got to do it this way. But I know how to do 4 + 4 this way, and it's the same answer. I know, but we can't pass you if you don't do it this way. Well, I don't learn it that way. I hate that. Drives me nuts, but that's a story for another day. All right, let's wrap this up because I'm pulling up at my house. But my kids have never been exposed to that. And they've never been exposed to bad things. I have, and I don't want them to be exposed to bad things. That's a good thing that they're not exposed to bad things. All right, and so the last one is going to be opportunity. The reason I say opportunity is the most important because opportunity is the only one that could get you out of the situation you're currently in. So if your current situation is every time I make extra money, I'm going to put it in a bank account and leave it there. My question to you is, what is that going to do for you while it sits there? Listen, the banks tell you to save money. The banks don't even save money. In fact, if the banks save money like you save money, the bank would be out of business like you're out of business, but you don't realize it. You're out of business. So don't listen to what the banks tell you to do. Don't do what they say. Do what they do. What do banks do? They use money to try to make more money. All right, there you go. That's a clue. Now you start using your money to try to make more money. You don't have to take every penny out of the bank and be broke. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just telling you, take a few dollars here and there, try something, start a business, start a middleman business, get a vending machine, start an online balloon company. I don't know, I don't care. Just start getting creative and saying, how can I use this extra $1,000 to make another $1,000? Bam, you try something, worst case scenario, it doesn't hit, you lose all the $1,000. That's fine. The lesson that you're learning is more important than the $1,000. What's that lesson? It's more valuable than $1,000 because that hurt. Gotcha. But the lesson you're learning, how to use money to make money, that's going to change your life. That's more valuable than $1,000. You'll get the money again. But if you don't get this lesson, you might be stuck at a 9 to 5 for the rest of your life. So don't miss opportunity by parking money in a bank and leaving it there. Get the money out of the bank, at least some of the money, and start looking for opportunities so you can invest, start a business. I already told you guys at the beginning of this video, if you want to start a middleman business, I can help you start that. Doesn't even cost a whole lot. Invest. Try to find opportunity. And if you guys start learning how to do that, I promise you it's going to change your life. But if you continue to leave money in a bank account and leave it there, it's going to die and it's going to take you with it. Put middleman in the comments if you want to learn how to start your own middleman business. I'm Shon-Jhon. Hit subscribe, hit thumbs up. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I appreciate the interaction. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.